All right, tonight we are making glass calligraphy pens. They are kind of cool as hell. We're getting right into it. So they are glass calligraphy pens, but I use metal nibs for them. I don't like the glass nibs because they end up always coming back broken because people put too much pressure on them. So I'd rather just not do any glass nibs anymore. We can make them, but I don't like it. Okay. And I thought I had that ready to go. Go. There we go. Okay, so yeah, we're doing glass calligraphy pens tonight. I do, on the horizontal stream for YouTube, I do actually have the filter on, so you can see it a little bit better. We'll run it a little bit tonight. I have the side filter on. And there we go. So yeah, we're going to be making some glass calligraphy pens. Hello, Philip and Sandollar. And we're going to break it down. Here we go. Let me show you exactly what we're making while I'm doing this. I'm going to bring it over to the side. So these are the nibs for the glass calligraphy pen, and then there's the full pen. You can see we can do some really cool custom designs with it. And then the nibs just come out, so you can change it out to whatever you want. It looks really cool when you do it. All right, so let's get started. We're going to do some crazy designs tonight, hopefully. I'm going to use that yellow again. We're going to do a really cool pattern here with this older yellow that we used last night. This is like one of the very first colors that they created at North Star. And North Star glass is mostly what I use. It's called North Star Glass Works, and it is the largest color manufacturer of borosilicate glass there is, and the best. So we're adding yellow stripes all the way around. It's not going to show up just yet, like last night. We're going to add a little bit more yellow here. And there we go. Ooh, man, that got a little wobbly. That's not good. Got to fix it all the way from the beginning. Actually, you know what? We're going to do yellow and red. I haven't done that in a long time. We'll do yellow and red. Two colors you shouldn't do next to each other because you can't see where it is, but that's okay. We're going to do it anyway. We're putting the red down right now. You wouldn't believe this tube is full of color right at the moment. Let me heat it up. This is actually going to be kind of a trip. You guys are going to get a little experience here. Let me pull this a little straighter. All right, this is kind of trippy. We're going to have to use the side cam for this, though. So keep your eye on this tube as I start rotating it around. Going to bring it out here. Now just keep your eye on it and watch the color start to morph in. It's going to take a second, but all of a sudden you're going to start seeing color. There's the red in the back. It's starting to creep forward. I got to keep it rotating a little bit. And the red just starts creeping all the way back in, and the yellow's next to it. The yellow doesn't do that, unfortunately. And there we got our red. These are two colors you really shouldn't use next to each other unless you have a lot of experience. Okay, we need this. So we're going to start off with a really basic one. What's up, Dragonfly? What's up, mods? How's everybody doing? What's up, cruising? All right. So we're going to pull this down. But before we do that, we got to expand it just a little. So we got to puff a little air into it. Notice that red went away. I'll bring it out so you guys can see it. See, the red went away again, and then it'll slowly start working its way back. See, that's the problem with those colors, is they disappear and then they come back. All right, let's go ahead and pull this down. So we're going to pull this down into the pen form, and then we're going to attach the tubing for it where the metal nib fits into. And then I'll show you a version of the finished product. I got 3 of them sitting here. All right, so now we're going to get it nice and juicy hot and swirl it down. I'm going to do this one in a little bit different shape than I normally do because I just kind of want to see how it looks. Maybe we'll put a little twist on it in the middle. Yeah, that little twist will give it a little character. Kind of like a bow tie. All right, so next step, we have to open this end up and put a piece of tubing on there that will attach to the metal nibs that we use. Oh, the yellow's starting to come out now. All right, so we're going to take this here. We're going to clean it up a little. Thin that out really nice. And we got to pop it. Definitely don't want to inhale right there. That would be bad. All right, let's bring it to the side view so you can start to see that yellow coming in right there. We got a little twist in the middle. And we're going to take one of these pre-cut tubes. We're going to fuse it on here. And give it a little puff of air. And then we're going to seal this end off. Now I can kind of mess with this. We're going to give this one a massive twist. So we're going to marbleize this back one. And here we go. Oh yeah, that's going to look cool. Then we're going to start tapering it off. I'm trying to trap a little bit of air in here so it has a little corkscrew at the end. I don't know if I did it though. I kind of wanted this like Harry Potter wizard looking corkscrew at the end, but I don't think I got it all the way. Not quite sure. But I will bring it out for you guys to see. I forgot to change the camera view too. I am so sorry, but you can see the little corkscrew going in. Well, let's pay attention to this and watch this as the red starts. Kind of see that corkscrew I was trying to put in there? I was trying to get that little spiral all the way to the top, but it didn't work. I was trying to get that really looking cool. All right, we're going to garage this for the moment. And I'm going to show you some of the versions I have done. This is by far one of my favorites I've ever done. So this pen is just wicked cool. You can see the little nib right there. We'll bring this out. Now you can see all those colors bouncing through there. And then the nibs just literally slide right out. Like that. So you can take the nib out of this too. So they come in two different sections. So you can always replace it. You got to find the right spot though. There we go. And then it just goes right back in. So you got calligraphy number 1. This is pen. Here's number 2. I love this color. Look how cool that looks. And then we got the really wicked one that really makes it look like glass. So we got the uranium one here. And then there's the nib right there. But I love the uranium too. All right, and let's bring it back out. There we go. Yeah, they are very cool. Wendy, thank you. And they have these, where is it? They always have these little kits with all the little nibs in them, so you can replace the nibs. Let's do another one, though. This time, let's get a little bit more creative with it. Let's go a little wild. Thank you, babe. There we go. So this one's going to be pretty wild. What's up, Red Squeak? I just found him, Red Squeak. I literally forgot about him. Yeah, I totally forgot about it. Yeah, changeable nibs. I can do the glass nib, like the traditional glass nibs that they do, but people always break them, and it's not really their fault. They're just fragile. And if you push a little too hard on it, they break. And I call them my homing pigeons because they always find their way home to be repaired. So they're like homing pigeons. All right, here we go. We got to preheat this tube. Yeah, they're definitely homing pigeons. What's up, DNA? Daisy Girl, how are you? And then a few people I noticed emailed. I got to respond to your emails about the stuff from last night. I apologize if I have not gotten back to you. I have been filing appeals for my mother's nursing facility today, her rehab unit. So I've been all day battling insurance, and I'm sorry I haven't been able to get back to you. It's like one of my little missions. I'm not going to let them get away with it. I know it's crazy. Guy looks just like me, man. I know it's totally crazy. Oh, I know what the heck we're going to do. Oh my God, this is going to be cool. Oh, this is going to be so freaking awesome. Yeah, we're definitely doing this. We are definitely doing this guy. Do I have any yellow? I need to see if I got yellow. Hold on one second. I need a little thicker yellow. Are you orange or yellow? Close enough. All right. We're going to do a confetti version. So we're going to sprinkle a little confetti around this whole thing. So we're going to make a total confetti pen. Rainbow, confetti, whatever you want to call it. So this is the tube we're starting off with, all clear. It's about 2,500 degrees right now. And we're going to start. Here we go. Going to add that in. Add that in. A little bit there. Can't go without yellow. So we still have two colors left to go, but I got to kind of melt this in a little bit. Got to let it cool off just a touch because it does get a little too hot. But you can see we're starting to get some of the colors running through there. And let's go ahead and add some more color to this. Okay, well, that was a little bit of blue. Then we got this green. And a little bit of black. So the black I'm just going to dot in there. All right, now we got confetti going. This will be a cool design. I've never done a confetti one. Let's go ahead and get it straightened out a little bit. Little puff of air. Bring it in, smooth it out. Now you can see we got lots of color bouncing through that whole thing and just like this confetti mess going on. And there goes Fritz. All right, so now we're going to bring it down and turn it into the, yeah, it's definitely confetti. We're going to melt this in a little bit. I'm going to blow it out just a tiny bit. Use a smaller flame. I don't want it being really chunky up there. So we're going to bring it in here, melt it all in. And we're going to puff a little air into it, expand it out, and then we'll shrink it down into the form. Bring it down. A little bit more. All right, so we just expanded it out, and then I can shrink it down comfortably. And we're getting there. We'll let gravity do a lot of work for us here. All right. Now we got to pull this front down. And taper this down. It's pretty pliable up to that point. Ooh, I like this a lot. This kind of looks cool. I can't wait till it cools off. Gonna separate that there. Grab our little rod here to wipe it away. There we go. And bring it in here. Now you can see we got all those colors bouncing all the way through there. Now, unfortunately, while it's hot, they don't show as well. I'll try and get a little light on it. You can start to see some of the colors bouncing in, but they'll all come in a little bit. They're not just showing up yet. Then we're going to come out here. There we go. Yeah, Fritz is having a fit. And then we're going to burn it off here. So now you guys can see that. We got the pen attached. Bring it in here. So the next step is we're going to punty it back up. I got to blow this little section out right here just a little bit. Just a little micro section. Now that I have this sealed off, I can add in pressure and expand it back out. That did not work out the way I wanted. We got to fix this. Not the way I wanted it. All right, we got to do a repair. Did not work out exactly the way I wanted. So we'll reverse the two sides. And there we go. All right, we got the little nib right there. We got to snip it off and then open it up again. We'll attach another tube. See, even after 32 years, you can make a mistake. But you can recover from it quite well. And I'll show you where the mistake is. So you guys don't make it yourself if you're a glass blower. So at the end here, I didn't get that attachment blended in very well. It looks really fragile. So I open this end back up right there. We're going to attach another tube to that end, and then I'll burn this one off. Like that. Now that's a good seal. I'm not worried about that breaking. That I would worry. There's a lot of pressure on that. We'll burn this off. Okay. So what's going to end up happening is I'll trim this right about where to my thumb is. And then the rest of the pen will have the nib fit in there. And then that'll be the basic of the pen. But since we've spent so much time working on it, might as well customize it a little bit. Give it an everlasting gobstopper look. So we put a couple little lime green sections in there. We'll put some red in there. And what else do I have? Ooh, turquoisey color. Turquoise teal. A little bit right there. A little bit right there. Let's go right at the top. Okay, so we added a little bit. Yeah, Fritz is okay. He's just angry at the neighbor dog. All right, so we got these little dots on here. Now we're going to shrink it down a little and create this little blobby on it. So we're going to kind of let it shrink down and blob up a little bit. I'm trying to leave a little bit of texture on it. Almost there. No, no texture stayed. This turquoise color is hard to melt in. So all the other colors blended before this turquoise, so didn't work out that way. But it still adds to the confetti look to it. Bring it out here. You can see the little dots starting to form on there. And then we got all the colors starting to bounce through. They're not all there yet. You can see down there where it cooled off a little. But yeah. Now you can see the colors just starting to... Down here's what it'll look like because it's already cooled off. And then we got all the stuff up here going on. Just lots of confetti type color. And we'll park that in the kiln for a little bit. And again, this is the pen that we're working on, the calligraphy pen. This one still looks cool. This is done out of solid with a little tubing on it. So maybe we'll do one more blown version and then we'll go into a solid version. But for this, we need a bigger tube. You guys ready to get wild? I hope so. We're going to go a little wild on this one. We're going to definitely go a little funky cool in this. So we got to use a bigger piece of tubing on this for the design that I want to do. We're going to have about half of this tube get wasted, kind of. But the end result is worth it. All right, there we go. I'm going to bring it down. Let's go ahead and preheat this up. So we're going to shoot pure silver into this first. So we're going to shoot it on the inside of the tube. We're going to actually vaporize the silver on the inside, basically fuming the inside of it. But before we can do that, we have to open up this top end. Bring it out. Seal this end up. There we go. So now you can see we opened this all up this way. And we have that going really far and wide. Warm it back up. Gonna grab our silver. We're gonna have to shoot it on the inside of the tube now. So the color's gonna fire on the inside. I gotta find my silver here. It's kind of buried. There it is. All right, here it goes. You guys ready to see something trippy? This is going to be the cool part. We're going to have to use side view for it, though. You'll have to bear with me. Okay, not much there, right? The silver is really in there. Now keep your eye on it. Just change the flame chemistry a little bit. And then it just went that way. So now the silver's showing up. Then we're going to burn it in a little bit tighter. This is going to get loud for a second. Get way back there. Okay, now it kind of disappeared again. It just went a little bit lighter. And the last step is to use another reducing flame, meaning more propane. And that silver will now appear again. Like that. And it just came back. Look at how metallic-y that. See those blues and purples at the end? That's the silver fuming right there. And we pop that off. All right, let's go to the front. Now we're going to heat the whole thing back up. It's totally wild. That is pure silver being vaporized into the glass. And this is going to create like an iridescent blue in there and some real wild colors. Now we have to seal this back off. We have to take this open end and close it off. You can see we kind of brought it down, mushed it a little bit. Now we'll seal the whole thing off. We're going to bring all that color right to the front and center. And we just sealed it all off. So it's not an open tube anymore on that end, just on this end. And if I do it right, we should be able to add these corkscrews in it. So I'm going to try and get a lot of corkscrew running through this on the inside. So on the inside, it's going to spiral all the way. But before we do that, we got to seal this other end up a little bit. Right there. Get it collapsed down really solid like that. All right, here we go. Moment of truth. We either have it work or it's a complete fail. There is no in between on this. It either works or it doesn't. Heat the whole thing up like that. All right, almost there. Okay, we're getting there. All right, here we go. Okay, it worked. I'm pretty okay with it. Yeah, baby. Got it. A little bit more and I'll show you what we just did. This is an old school trick right here. All right, we got to pull off this little bobble. Don't need that anymore. Pull it off nice and clean like that. All right, you guys ready to see awesome? This came out really good. Let me just straighten that out just a tiny bit. So now we got that corkscrew running all the way down on the inside. So starting up there and we're running all the way down. So that is the corkscrew. I like that. Okay, so we're going to attach a little punty to this end. So I can hold it. And then we got to burn it off up here. Bring it down. Pull it down really slow. And let me bring it in and polish this up a little. And hopefully you can see all the little lines that we created in here. And I think I can show it to you. I'm hoping it shows up on the camera. You see all those little tight lines in there? A bunch of little spirals like that. Kind of cool, right? All right, here comes the hard part. Blend that in really good. We got a nice solid attachment. Should be good to go. A little bit straightened out. And I think we're good to go. That is definitely solid. Then we just detach. And then we got all that running through there. There's the little tight spiral attached right there. And we just run all the way down. That little corkscrew running through there. That'll be a beautiful pen when it's all done. What'd you think of that? Corkscrew's kind of cool, right? You want to see a second one in gold? We can do another one in gold. I think I got enough gold on here. Yep, we can do gold if you want. You guys tell me if you want to do gold or do a solid. Doesn't matter to me which way you go. I'm good either way. We can do gold or we can do solid. Gold, gold, gold. Okay. All right, so if we're going to do gold, we got to do the same thing. Snip the end. Like that. Yeah, we could definitely throw gold in there. If I throw gold with cobalt, it'll look really good. I can grab the cobalt real quick if you guys want. So the gold and cobalt will look kind of like a nugget, like a golden nugget in there. Oh yeah, gold definitely won. Actually, we can grab a little black. Yeah, black. Black will be better. We'll make it a little chunkier. No, not for that design. I take it back. We don't want to do that with gold. Okay, let's go ahead and get this thing opened up. First, we got to get rid of this chunky monkey. Okay, so we got to warm the whole tube up before we do anything first. Definitely got to warm it up. That's what I'm saying. Crushed glass is the gold with the gold. I got to grab it though. It'll take me 5 seconds. Once I open this up, I can go grab the crushed frit, the blue. All right, let's go ahead and open this up. Oh, that didn't work out as good. It popped too easy. Now I got to flare it. Then we got to seal this end up. Actually, I don't need to do anything there. All right, give me a few seconds. I'll go grab the blue. I'm just going to carry this with me while I go grab it. No need to take it off. And nope. There's our blue. So we got the crushed blue right there. And we're going to grab this guy right here. Let me plug myself back in so I can hear my audio. All right, so same thing. We're going to fire gold onto the inside. Then we're going to use the crushed frit. Pop that in there just a little bit. We'll do that same twisty method. Now this requires an entirely different flame chemistry here. Here we go. So before we go too far, I'll show you what it looks like clear. No color into it, whatever. Uh-oh. YouTube went off. Okay, hold on one second. Boom. There we go. We're back. Sorry about that. Camera had a malfunction. Sorry about that. Camera just malfunctioned for a second. All right, let's grab our gold and fire it in there. Gotta find my little nugget first. There it is. All right, here we go. And a little bit more. I want to richen it up just a tiny bit. There we are. So we'll bring it off to the side, and you guys can see that really rich gold color there. So now we got all that going on. It's a beautiful cranberry color. Pretty, right? Okay, next step, we have to open up the tube again. There we go. And we're going to start adding the blue in here. Little bits of it, though. I don't want to do too much. That should be enough. Maybe just a tad more in the middle. All right, so I'll bring it over so you guys can see what we just added in. We'll let it cool off for a second, but now you can see that blue, those little blue sprinkles going off in there. Like that. There we go. And now we seal it back down again. Yeah, we're going to bring it right back down. There we go. So now we sealed off that end. You can see all the little scattered blue cobalt bits in there. All right, here's where we go again. Unfortunately, when I do this, there is no, like if I mess it up, there is no redoing it. If it gets all tweaked out, it's really done. All right, here we go. We got to let it cool for a second, then we'll add that really cool corkscrew. What's up, LTW? How you doing? All right, so we're going to add that corkscrew all the way back in again. Tighten this up just a little right there. All right, we're getting there, almost hot enough. All right, here we go. I think we got it again. A little loose flame right here to get it straightened out. That looks pretty freaking cool. See how far down we can go. This one I'm not going to do too tight at the end. We're going to leave it kind of loosey-goosey there. And I think we're okay. So now you can see we got the gold running through there. And when we hit it with the light, you can see all the gold nuggets running through. So that is the gold with the cobalt. and that spiral corkscrew going through there. That is cool, right? I just got to put a little attachment right there so I can hold on to it and do this other side. So now we got to work on this end. This could get a little scary. This end gets a little, this stuff gets a little cracky. It does not like to be cooled down that much. Oh, there it goes. Hopefully it doesn't go up too much further. If it does, I got to stop and let it reheat. Pull this end off right there. Hopefully we don't go any further. And I can control it from here. Oh, there we go. Just got to get it really melded in there. I hope I have a smaller rod of it. Nope, I don't. We're just going to have to run with what we got. Ooh, got a little squirrely. And I think we got it. It's a little scary. I can't leave it out too long. But now you can see those gold, all that golden nugget stuff running all the way through there. So we got the gold spiral running all the way up and down. That definitely has to get in quick. And then I'll bring out this guy so you can see the yellow again. So there's the difference between the gold and the yellow. Yeah, it definitely looks cool. No, I didn't go black. Black had too big of chunks in it. And then there is how it fits in. When I cut it off and I put the little nibs in there, that's how it fits in there like that. So the whole pen will be looking like that when it's all done. And that's what the pens look like when they're all completed. Okay. Let's grab. Do I have any more of that tubing up here? Please tell me I have a little bit. I don't know if I have a lot. We'll use this one here. This is the one that I failed on a little bit earlier. We'll go ahead and cut it. There we go. Cuts it really clean like that. So now we got a nice clean edge on there. A little bit of humidity, but that never hurt anything. All right, let's do a solid version of that. We'll grab a nice solid piece of glass and we'll stripe it and bring it down. So we'll use a thicker piece. We're going to cut it into a chunk. We're going to stripe all the way around. We'll pull it and put a design in it. We'll kind of go wigwag back and forth just to give it a wild design. Oh, that tubing cutter is absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I love that tubing cutter. What's up, Janae? How are you? Thank you. Yeah, I like that tubing cutter. It works really, really well. Yeah, that tubing cutter is so freaking awesome. It took me years to break down to actually want to buy it. And now I wish I had done it a long time ago. It's like one of those tools you look at and go, I don't really need it. And then once you use it, you're like, how have I lived my whole life without it? Let's trim this down a little bit. And there we go. So we're going to cut about that much off. About 3.5, 4 inches off of here. We're going to bring it down. I'm going to show you how to get really small lines in here. So we start big, we stretch it out, and as you stretch it out, the lines shrink down. And it makes it look like you put little tiny lines in there, but you didn't. It's kind of like a little trick of the trade here. All right, let's preheat the solid up. Definitely have to preheat this guy up before you do too much. If you don't preheat it, you're stuck. It'll crack and go all over the place. All right. So we're going to do a couple different colors on her. Definitely going to do black. And I think we'll do some lime green. But I'm going to show you how to make it look really like you drew these really thin lines in here. Just putting one black right next to the other. Bring it out here. You can see we got just a little bit of a thicker line right there. Now, I want you to remember how thick that looks at the moment. Then we're going to grab a lime green and go down the same way. And we're going to go right next to that black. And one more right next to it. Go to the other side and do the same thing. Just one right almost on top of the other, just a little bit on top of the last one. Don't want to leave a gap. We'll bring it back out. Now you can see we got the lime green next to the black, and then we still got those clear sections right in there. And I have to find another color that I want to work with. Ooh, I'd like to do the caramel. Yeah, we should use this one. So now we got this caramel butterscotch color. We're going to go right down next to that green. And we're going to finish the whole thing up in this color. So for beginning glassblowers that are watching this, this is kind of a little tip and trick. Notice I'm not moving my color up and down, I'm moving the object. It's the best way to keep consistency on the color. So this is going to stay in the same place of the flame, and my object is moving. And this is what keeps your color being laid on consistent and even. I'm not traveling up and down with the color. Because the flame definitely varies in temperature from top to bottom. And if you try pulling it from the top and going into the bottom here, it'll be cold, hot, cold. So it'll get this uneven, lumpy line. This way we get nice, consistent lines running all the way through. And now we have it fully encased here. So we got all our little colors bouncing through. There's the black, the lime green, and then that caramel butterscotch. Black, lime green, caramel butterscotch. Running all the way through. This is the key. This is where we start having a lot of fun. Gonna punty up an extra rod right at the end here. Make sure it's nice and solid. Try and keep it as straight as possible. This one's a little bit wobbly. I want to keep it as straight as possible because we're going to stretch this way out and then we're going to compress it back. And as I start compressing it back, we're going to kind of flip it. Well, it's called a wigwag. It's a very basic term. It's like overdone, but it still looks cool. So we're going to stretch this out about twice the length that it is now. A little bit right here. Pull it down. Got a big lump right there. There we go. That's a little more balanced. So now we just basically elongated this whole thing out. I'll try and bring it to the side for you guys so you can see how far we pulled it. And those lines thinned out a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect right now. I wasn't shooting for perfectly straight lines because we're going to be twisting the heck out of it. All right, here we go. Going to tighten our flame up here. Oh, got a little wobbly right there. All right, here we go. So you're just going to heat up one section and twist it one direction. Let it cool. Then you're going to come back in, go to the right below that last twist. And go the opposite direction. Let it cool. And come right up. So you just keep going back and forth on this. And you start creating this really kind of cool little pattern to it. And we're just going to do that all the way down till we got enough to make the pen here. The trick is, though, you do got to let it cool a little bit, or you're going to untwist what you just twisted up. Hey, you guys could probably hear that. I think the F-18s are taking off, or the F-15 Eagles or the F-18s are taking off from Whidbey. Oh, this is looking really cool. So it's a lot of work to get this pattern in here. Hopefully you can see that pattern starting to happen. We just keep going down till we have enough to finish this off. And we're getting pretty close to there now. And I think we got enough. So I'm going to take this and we're going to really twist it up here. Create a little bit of a marble at the end of it, kind of like a little rounded marble edge. Pull it down really nice. There we go. All right, side cam for you guys to see. What's up, creative? So now you can see that patterning running all the way down. That is called the Wigwag. So that's what it started off like, and then we twisted it into this pattern right here. The little famous Wigwag. You couldn't pay you enough to get your hands that close to the flame? You mean like this? Jaime, thank you. I know a lot of people freak out when I do that. It's pretty safe, trust me. Then we put a little punty here so I can do the other end. So we're going to cut it off up here. I'm going to save this little piece for something though. So we're going to save that little chunky piece right here. I keep forgetting to change my damn camera view. I'm so sorry for you guys getting stuck with that for a minute. So now we have the patterning. So that'll be the back end, and then we're going to attach the little front right up here. But I love these colors. It looks really freaking cool. I do like it. Hopefully you guys can see this. So on the side cam, I do have the filter on. That's why I have it on right now. You can see a little bit into the flame, hopefully. Then we'll bring it out here. Oh, it's all good. I mean, that's why I always tell people you don't want to get. A lot of people want to start this as a career, and I always say you got to like do an experience like a glass blowing lesson, not necessarily to learn, but just to see if you like being around the flame. Not everybody likes being around fire, and it's okay. I don't like scuba diving, so there you go. I don't want to get eaten by a shark. Come on, break off. Oh, I guess you're not going to break. Yeah, I don't want to get eaten by a shark. That's why I don't scuba dive. And now we got that welded on right there, and the pen pattern is all good to go. Okay, so remember that little tiny piece we had left over? Let's do something with that. I'm going to show you all. We're not going to actually make a pen out of this. We're going to do a little pendant. Ooh, look at the sparkle. Can you see that sparkle? Ooh, the black is showing up. Can you see that sparkle, that diamond sparkle in there? It actually worked. All right, we got to pull a little bit. Man, that isn't going to break. Watch, now it's going to shoot at me. There we go. Woo! All right, let's get this thing looking awesome. All right, so we're going to take this little tiny piece. We're going to stretch it way out. No dichro. That is Galaxy Black. Not dichro. That is the color's natural look right there. I was hoping I had a smaller rod here. A little bit smaller, that'll work. All right, so we're going to take this and stretch it out, then we're going to wigwag it back up, and we're going to turn it into a round pendant. And I'll probably sell the pendant with the pen since they're kind of like a set. We'll do it as a whole set. Oh, I got to do my TikTok thing. Hold on one second. I got to do my TikTok caption. There we go. All right, so we're going to pull this way down. Gonna thin it way out, a little bit more up at the front up here. So we just basically almost doubled the length of it. Good rule of thumb is when you want to do this thing, start out with the length that you want in mind. Use a thicker rod, about half again as thick as you think you need. So like this is 8mm, you want to use like a 14 to 16mm size glass rod. Put all your color and then stretch it out. It's a good rule of thumb. It's not perfect, but it works. It works for me. So in other words, if you want a 4-inch piece, you want to use a 2-inch section of thicker glass. There we go. So now you can see we got all this pulled down pretty far. And we're going to turn it into a kick butt little pendant. And I'm going to show you how a wigwag looks when you compress it. We get to use a small flame though. This is going to be so freaking cool. So this will go with that pen. I'm going to sell them together because they're kind of matching. So right there, I heated it up. I twisted it one direction. We're going to heat it back up and twist it the opposite and compress it in a lot more. Then we're going to come below it and compress the opposite direction again. And same thing, we're just going to work that same process all the way down here. See, we compressed it back and then into a smaller little section here. Twist that last little bit right there. I'm going to bring it over to the side so you can see. This is going to be a little tutorial. Don't mean to do it, but now you can see, look how, remember how thick those lines were? And now they look very, very thin. And that's what you do. When you stretch it back out and you compress it back in, you make it look like you drew these really super thin lines. And then we're going to compress it back together even further, trying not to twist anything up. This will be a fun little pendant. So we're compressing it way into a little ball here. And when you see what we do with it, you'll know exactly why I do it this way. Okay, we're going to bring it out here. Pull this little bit of clear off. Keep this twist nice and consistent right at the end. And then we're going to round it out a little bit. You guys get free lessons and you don't even have to do it. You don't even have to pay for it. All right, now you can see we got all those lines running. Look how tight they look right now. I know it's hard to see. No, I don't count the twists. I just kind of go by feel. Okay, see how tight they look? But that's not what we're shooting for. This isn't the final look. This is about to get wicked awesome. I'll probably get another. Christy, thank you so much for the star. I'm probably going to get a bunch of hate mail from glass blowers again. Quit giving away the secrets. I don't really care. Be mad. I can't tell you how much hate mail I get from people saying, stop giving away the secrets. Every day. And I don't care. Be mad. Okay, we're going to round this one out. It is counterproductive. They get so mad at me. I don't really care, though. I don't care. I'm going to show anybody how to do this stuff. I know it is all over the internet, but people get really pissed off at me for showing. We're going to do a little bit different method to it. I need to round this out. And we just got to get it round. All right, we're going to bring it back out. All right, so remember all those lines are running up and down this way. They're kind of zigzagging back and forth, up and down right now. Okay, going back and forth. So here's where the fun part begins. We're going to switch the axis here. So we're going to kind of reverse it. If I can get my punty rod out. I want to find the right spot that I want to use. Right there. So we're going to go this way now. And I'm going to show you what it looks like before we go there. So now we got the lines going the opposite direction. You should have two swirls on each end. So you should have a swirl there and a swirl there. And then you have all these colors bouncing back and forth that direction. So that make sure, in order to get this right, you got to have the two swirls opposite of each other there. We're going to heat downward. I'm going to bring it over. Oop, hold on, my mold has a little gooply goop in it. Yeah. Had a little goop. I think I had some frit in there. I didn't want to throw the pattern off. We're going to bring it in and smush it down. We're going to smush it down again. Let's heat it up just a little bit more. And then I'm going to show you what this pattern looks like this way. A little bit more. A lot of work to do this, but it's worth it in the end. Okay. If I did it right, it's going to look awesome. If not, I suck. So now you can see we got those patterns running this way, and you can kind of see those edges pulling out to the side. When they strike in there, it's going to be really cool. So now the patterns are running up and down, back and forth, all those different directions. Then as it starts to cool off, it gets even better. Okay, so next spot, we're going to have to put a little hook on it. I don't know which direction I want to go. There we go. We're going to smooth out this little dimple in the back. And we'll bring it over. So technically you could kind of leave it like this, in this shape. Or you can kind of create a teardrop shape out of it, but now you can see how it's going this way. Bring it right up there. And you got those little like eyeballs at the side. I kind of like it as is. I'm going to make a little hook for it and we'll pop it on there. So that one will go with the actual the calligraphy pen. Let's make a little hook for it. We're going to make a tiny little hook. Kind of like caterpillar. Yeah, when it cools off, it'll look a lot better. When it cools off, it's going to look amazing. It just needs to cool down. Yeah. Make a little baby hook for it. I think we're looking good. This one didn't give me too much trouble. So now we got this little tiny loop-de-loop for it, like that. Then we'll take and burn it off. Trim this off a little bit. Now we got the little pendant like that. And hopefully we start to see some color bouncing through it. I don't know how much color we're going to have. Yeah, there we go. So that has lots of little colors bouncing through. I can't get it all centered. There we go. It's kind of a cool little pattern to have in there. I like it. Yeah, it's a cool little pendant. That's a lot of work to get those little patterns in there, but half again as much, right? Doesn't really matter. I've made like a bunch of pens already. Let's do a normal pen, like one that takes the Bic inserts. Where is my insert? Here it is. So this will be like the normal Bic pen that I use. So we got the little inserts that fit in there. We're going to do one of those. The color comes in like it'll soak in that kiln for a little bit, and it'll get brighter and brighter as the caramel color, this one here, that color gets brighter and brighter as it soaks. The black and the green are going to stay the same. This one is the one that's going to change. But the black and green will stay the same. But that one definitely changes. Let's do a normal pen. Kind of. Maybe we won't do total normal. Maybe we'll do a little funky. Should we do a crazy pen? We should do a crazy pen. Oh my gosh, really? There we go. All right, we'll bring it here. All right, so we're going to do a crazy pen. What I mean by crazy pen is I like to make them like in different shapes. One of my favorite shapes is kind of like a horseshoe kind of look, or a ribbon. I like it to kind of loop all the way around. And it's actually really comfortable to grip. They're actually super, super comfortable to hold. Especially if you know someone that has like arthritis or something in their fingers, this is one of the most comfortable shapes you can have. By far. All right, let's do it. We're just going to go wild. There we got one color on. I love doing that little spiral. I'm a spiral person. I love spirals. Crazy pen. That's right, Christy. You got it. All right, so we got the black coiling around right now. And I thought I had amber purple up here, but I don't. I think I got cobalt. I think I got dark cobalt. Yep, we got some dark cobalt. This will be a good one. Black, dark cobalt. We got to do a small, like, light color. Maybe the rest of that caramel butterscotch. Let's meld that in. We'll bring it back out. So now you can see we got the cobalt on there as well. We got black and cobalt running through. Let's just use this butterscotch. I got to use this up anyway. And there we go. We're going to meld that in. We're going to get it really blended in. Then we're going to grab some gold, and I'm going to gold fume over it. And then we'll stripe down and create that chaos, and then we'll turn it into an amazing, crazy pen. We'll throw some gold on here. Should look good. All right, now we got the butterscotch running through there. We got 3 different colors running through. I think I got just a little bit of gold left on this. Do I have a little bit left? I don't know how much I have left on here. There's just a little tiny, tiny nugget right there. Get a little bit. I'll try and get as much of it on here as I can. We'll burn it all up. Give it a little pinky shimmer. Oh, it's going on. We're going to change the chemistry just a little bit. This will be the last little bit of it right here. Oh, yeah. There we go. Now you can see we got all the gold. I don't know if you can see that gold shimmer on there. Hopefully you can see some of that gold running on that. All right, let's do it. Now we're going to have some fun. We're going to take some of the yellow, transparent yellow. We're going to stripe down with some yellow and then some clear and blend them all together. Actually, I don't even know if I need to blend them. So this transparent yellow on the gold will turn it kind of orange. So we should have a really kind of cool orange color. And one more with the yellow. There we go. This thing's getting thick. All right, let's do the clear. Now, anywhere I'm not putting a line, the gold is going to actually burn off and leave the other colors alone. So we should have a transition of about 6 different colors running through here. So if everything works out right, we got 6 different colors running through. And we have that corn on the cob look like that. So we should have a lot of different colors bouncing through this. And we're going to punty it up here. Now we just have to meld everything together. So we're going to blend the whole thing up, get it all smoothed out, and then we'll shape it. So now we just have to heat the whole thing up. We'll puff a little air into it to expand it back out, and then when I shrink it back in, those lines should start to blend in. So we just have to blend everything in right now. By the way, we got some mods on here that if you're not following, I would appreciate you giving them a subscribe or follow. Dragonfly Creation, Grove's Glass Gallery, and Red Squeak. They have been with me for a very long time, and they're awesome, and I like supporting them. So if you get a chance, give them a follow. All right, we're getting it all ooey gooey here. This is at the soupy sauce stage. It feels like soup, like you're trying to sculpt molasses or honey. It's running all over the place right now. All right, we're getting ready. We got to blow a little air into this. We're going to expand it, and then when I shrink it down, it'll all be blended, and then we can shape the crazy pin. Again, this one's very comfortable for people that, especially if you know someone that has like arthritis, it's actually really comfortable for them. So we just puffed it out. And it made everything smooth. So it got rid of all that texture in here. Okay, 2 steps that we have to do here. We have to shrink this end down a little bit. Just a little bit. Like that. And then we got to tear off the other end that has all the goopy goop on it. Don't want any of that. So we're going to rip it off up here, tear all this little section off. Get it all melted off. Nice and even. There we go. Almost like a football shape. It should almost look like a football when you're ready to do this. Bring it out this way. And now you can see all those colors running through. Use the light on it. See all the colors bouncing through? Isn't that colorful? Okay, we're going to center up that punty real quick. All right, next step is we're going to heat this whole thing up, stretch it and bend it and twist it and make it look hopefully really good. Going to need some room for it. Hey, we're doing okay. And then we'll cut it off here, and that's where the ink will go in. The little fitting will go right up inside that tube. Then you'll hold it, and it kind of rests along your wrist right there, your thumb area. But yeah, if anybody steals your pen, you'll definitely be able to find it. Oh, I need my tricky little, this is my high-tech little tool right there. This is the perfect size for the big pens. And then I want to angle it just a little bit. Perfect. So we're going to have this crazy kind of pen, and the insert will go right in there. It'll slide right up inside there. And hopefully we got some cool colors. I don't know if they sustained, but there we go. So there are all the colors for it. Isn't that just freaking wicked? Like I said, anybody steals your pen, you'll definitely be able to find that. There we go. Kind of looks like a question mark, right? Something like Nightmare Out of Christmas or Nightmare Before Christmas look. Kind of has that Nightmare Before Christmas vibe. That came out better than I thought. The color looks really kind of neat. Yeah, the colors look really good. So what caused that color shift in there? I didn't add any green. What about doing one like that and putting a flower on the end? I can make whatever you want, custom. I have no problem doing that. But anyway, what ended up happening on that is when we added the gold on top of the cobalt, that cobalt on top of the gold on top of the cobalt with the clear created that green, and then there's another little green in there. That's from the yellow. Yeah, that looked really cool. Yeah, that's what ended up happening on that is the gold shifted all those colors. I got to do a quick repair real quick. So we're going to do a couple repairs real quick. I don't know if Debbie's on, but this is her pen. We just have to buzz it real quick. And that's all that needed. A little fix right there. The next one's going to be a little bit more difficult. I need my glove. Too hot. The kiln's actually way hot when you stick your hand in there. You got to repair this guy. The post office was not kind to it. They broke the flower. Kind of pissed me off. This piece is beautiful. Now we just have to do a little surgery on it, fix it all up. Make it look better than ever. I like it. Came out good. So now we just fixed it all up. They had messed this whole thing up. I don't know if we can get color lighting on it, but you can see all those blues coming out now with that beautiful bird. But we do have to get this in the kiln real quick. I think that came out good. So that's kind of how you fix things up. Yeah, it definitely looks good. Yeah, that's a cool color. It's definitely a cool color combo. All right, I need to. Christy, you have a good night. Thank you for all your support, Christy. I really appreciate it. You are awesome. I really appreciate you. Yeah, I am going to take a little bit. It's been 2.5 hour stream, so I need to get up and stretch. Yep. So I will see you all later. You have a good night. Thank you for hanging with me, and I hope you enjoyed the little pen tutorial. I'll see y'all later.